Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to react to Judge Judy's most heated moments. Now, Judge Judy had a very long run. I think the show went on for over 20 years, I think, because I think she stopped. I think she retired, was it last year? So 2022, and she was definitely doing these episodes from the early thousands. So around 20 years, she must have seen, you know, thousands, many thousands of people in court, heard thousands of different cases, and I'm sure there's going to be things that have got her quite irritated. You know, even though a judge is meant to be impartial when they're delivering their judgment, there's going to be things that, you know, really speak to her personally and, you know, elicit a real response from her. So it's going to be fun to see what makes it onto this list. it's going to be a really interesting one. Anything to do with courtrooms and this kind of stuff, I really find interesting, so it should be a fun one.
The plaintiff is suing the defendant for harassment.
Ms. Lopez, it is your claim that the defendant harassed you and stalked you. The defendant says quite the opposite.
On the other hand, the defendant mirrors her claim in his counterclaim. He also throws in a frivolous lawsuit claim.
Stalking and harassing to him, and in addition, you filed a restraining order for no valid reason and then didn't show up. And you had not met because you met on social media.
It must be odd to face your supposed stalker in court.
How can you file a restraining order over someone that you've never met before? But then I guess, yeah, if they're harassing you online, I suppose.
At least for one of the parties to the case.
Is this the first time that you've actually met face-to-face?
Yes, Your Honor.
As usual, wow. Judge Judy is not interested in stories. She just wants answers. That's why she interrupts the plaintiff before the plaintiff can launch into her story.
Contacted whom?
The defendant was soliciting clients for a law firm that he had just recently gotten hired with, and I had contacted the defendant for a friend who was in need of an attorney. So on September 30th...
So you contacted him?
I did, on September 30th of 2016. Okay.
Surprisingly, the plaintiff claims the defendant is a stalker, but does not argue when he denies even knowing her.
Have you ever met Lawrence?
Never.
You don't know who that is.
I don't know who she is. I don't know who he is.
Right, and she contacted you. You didn't contact her.
So how on earth is he the one who's defending here? Like, why?
The defendant's denial can't possibly be refuted by the plaintiff's evidence, but at least the plaintiff gets an A for effort.
That is actually a citation issued September 9th of 2016, where the defendant had received a speeding ticket 3 blocks down from my house, doing 80 in a 25 school zone.
The evidence is terrible at best, and this irritates Judge Judy. Judge Judy lets the plaintiff know that she needs to do better than that.
This doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Knew your ex-husband, which is the reason that you say he was harassing you. I want to know what it is, then where it is. And if you have it in a file, you'll get the file.
At this point, Judge Judy's face tells us that she has lost all faith in the testimony of the plaintiff, if it can be called that.
So, do you have any proof that Mr. Gaeta communicated with your ex-husband?
Not directly communicated, but the defendant did tell me specifically that he did know him.
He did.
Is this real? If this is real, she should be, like, punished for wasting the court's time.
Yes.
When did he tell you that?
It was within the first week or two of us speaking between September 30th.
Well, tell me exactly what he said to you, Ms. Lopez.
The plaintiff gives a lengthy testimony in a desperate attempt to link the defendant to her ex-husband. The defendant denies these allegations without batting an eye.
Ms. Lopez.
And at that point, I had asked him then if he was friends with him personally or what, and he said yes, that he was friends with him.
Did you have that conversation with her?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Judge Judy is generous enough to give the plaintiff a lifeline to find her proof. Or maybe Judge Judy is giving her enough rope to hang her case.
I also have a civil restraining order that was 3 years issued, I believe March of 2016 as well.
Okay.
But just because you filed a restraining order doesn't make him guilty.
Okay, now I want you to go and find the proof that's in your file that the respondent is a personal friend of my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Go find it. We'll recall the case.
The case is recalled, and the evidence the plaintiff presents is even more flimsy than the last evidence she presented to Judge Judy.
We're all on Facebook together. I don't know if you're familiar with Facebook, but the pictures will show up of the quote-unquote friends on each other's friends lists.
She looks like she's friends with a lot of people.
Right, but my ex-brother-in-law and my ex-husband are also listed on there as well.
That's what you have?
That's what I have, yeah.
Judge Judy asks a series of questions that expose just how bad her case is. The plaintiff quite literally picked a random guy to harass.
You were afraid of him?
Yes.
Did you show up at the protective order hearing?
No, and I have a doctor's note because of...
The answer is you did not show up.
Judge Judy does not entertain any more excuses from the plaintiff.
This woman needs to go speak to a therapist or something. There's clearly issues there, maybe linked to the divorce with her ex-husband.
She grants the counterclaim, and it feels like poetic justice.
If you are afraid, then what you do is you show up for a protective order. What you do is not harass somebody to make a 7-hour trip, hire a lawyer, and then not appear, and then refile. That's harassment. Just give me the date of the video.
The date of the video was on August 30th.
I really hope that lady was ordered to pay that man a couple $1,000s for his, at least a couple $1,000s, because this is reputational damage and stuff, you know?
Our 29th, I'm sorry, that is the day that Lisa Palma said that if I was not out by the end of the day, that all of my things would be on the street.
Judge Judy cannot believe what she just watched. The plaintiff went full SWAT on the defendant.
Put your hands on her.
Did
you? Just a second.
Okay, after that video?
Did
No.
you? You kicked in her door. Play it
No.
again, please.
Kicked in the door.
Play it again, please. Kicked in the door with an attitude that was crazy.
Judge Judy is not buying that excuse. After all, no one needs a genie to know the aftermath of the video.
You kicked in her door for which she had paid rent for the entire month of August. You had no right to kick in her door.
Yes.
The plaintiff had no right to do that to a lawful tenant. The plaintiff must regret appearing in that video now.
Sometimes police are stupid, and sometimes
If she would have been hurt, if she would have been severely hurt that bad, I would have went to jail. So just because I don't have pictures and videos of her jumping in and out the window with a U-Haul truck does not necessarily.
In and out of the window because I was
I wasn't
scared.
even home, Tiffany. I was at school.
Whoever did not jail the plaintiff for her behavior against the defendant needs to be jailed.
I know.
I mean, yeah, if someone kicked in your door, like, to enter your home, yeah, that's illegal. Isn't that breaking and entering or something?
She is.
No, you
They
don't.
should be
With regard to this,
punished for that.
you're going to pay her exactly what she asks for, which is $1,500. Judgment on the counterclaim for $1,500. You got a bad temper. You want to continue to rent to her?
Absolutely.
You do so at your own peril.
Absolutely, he will.
Goodbye.
Absolutely.
Wow, look at the attitude. Absolutely, he will.
The outcome of the case is unsurprising, and the defendant was pleased that everyone got what they deserved. A single mom sues for loans owed to her by her ex.
Who do you live with?
Right now I live with me and my son.
Do you support him?
Yes, by myself. His father's not in the picture.
The defendant gives a rundown of the transactions that the plaintiff helped him with. It's quite a list.
I met Mrs. Worthington in actually Iraq. I was on Facebook and I met her. It was 3 months prior to getting back from Iraq. When I came back, we started dating, and I have a 4-year-old daughter too. So at the time, it was hard to get back and forth from Cromwell to Meriden, and Miss Worthington offered to pay for a vehicle for me.
What was she doing at that time?
She was working at the place there she was working at. In Sullerton.
She had a child then?
Yes.
The plaintiff's unruly behavior gets called by Judge Judy. Judge Judy strongly urges the defendant to do the needful.
Why don't you go for them if you were strapped for money? Why don't you ask your mother for money? Why do you ask a single mother who's working to support her child?
Did he ask her for the money, or did she offer him the loan? This is the thing.
Child for money.
I didn't ask for the money, ma'am.
You took it.
It was a gift.
You took it.
Yes, ma'am.
Give it back.
Judge Judy gives the plaintiff the most
Yeah.
heartwarming smile before she offers the plaintiff good advice.
Hold on to your
That smile was a bit creepy, wasn't it? It was like, what the fuck was that?
money. You put together a few $100s, put it towards your son's college. Don't give it to a bum who's not going to return it to you.
Ooh. Ooh. A bum? Oh.
The defendant lists more stuff he got from the plaintiff. Judge Judy does not stand for exploitation and gives a deserving judgment.
Spent $700 on calling her?
No, ma'am. It was prior to going to Iraq, so.
So you couldn't get a phone turned on because you hadn't paid a phone bill. You sound like a real charmer.
Thank you.
$700.
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
Just miscellaneous stuff, too.
I'm not interested in miscellaneous stuff. You have anything else other than miscellaneous stuff?
The phone, yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,200.
Relevancy is always the theme of Judge Judy's court. If it is not relevant to the complaint, then you are better off not bringing it up.
No, so I'm not getting involved in it because if you actually believe that he owed you money and there was so much animus, late October, you wouldn't have gone to his house for a house party, which is really the crux of this case, which is the only part of it that I'm dealing with.
Everyone knows you don't go to the party of a man you have beef with. Well, everyone except the plaintiff.
You were invited to his home a month later, a month after you moved out.
Yeah.
For a party. I would not have gone if I was in an acrimonious situation.
It's funny how the plaintiff acts like he was expecting that type of confrontation to go down peacefully.
I went to the party in October. We discussed the deposit and the monies owed. And as you mentioned, I did have some resentment.
You shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, I really shouldn't have gone.
Right. Okay.
You know, he basically got violent with me about it. He pushed me outside the door and then locked the door.
Yeah. Unlocked the door.
He locked the door with my keys inside, my car keys inside. So.
Another thing Judge Judy will not condone in her court is hearsay.
Then I had to pay for a cab to get home.
And
then the next day he said a bunch of crazy things to our manager that we work for.
I don't know whether he did or not. That's hearsay.
Either way, though.
Because there's nobody here.
Yeah, you need proof. Like if it was via text or something, or if it was a recorded call.
Judy asks for simple proof that the plaintiff fails to produce. That will not help his case at all.
I want to see the text where you said to him, I'm going to small claims court. You say you have a text. Use your phone right there.
Yeah, I do not have the text.
Man, I love Judge Judy. There is no tolerance for BS with her. Zero.
Unfortunately, this is a new phone.
You know how many times I hear people, how did you get a new phone when you lost your job? What you're suing for here is lost wages. When did you get a new phone?
It was a very affordable phone, Your Honors.
You know a person is intimidating when the person makes you agree to be thrown out after answering some questions.
Listen, I'm going to do my drill. When I'm satisfied that I'm going to throw you both out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Great.
Why rely on a conventional counterclaim when you can get an unnecessary protective order against a coworker in response to getting sued?
And I would like to see the date that you filed it and the allegations that you make.
Okay, I have the petition and I also have the temporary order if you'd like.
Let's see the petition.
The plaintiff narrates a lot of isolated incidents that have nothing to do with the case. You could see how Judge Judy feels about that.
So the incident that occurred at my house, as it states in the petition, he was sexually harassing a house guest upon being asked to stop. He berated her using...
Who cares?
Okay. I kicked him out.
Who cares?
The defendant is...
Such a ball breaker.
Already messed up this question once. Judge Judy gives him another chance to maybe do better.
And I want you to tell me what he did that inspired you after you were served with a small claim case to file a protective order.
Judge Judy lets the defendant in on some information that is contrary to what he believes.
So I want you to tell me specifically what Mr. Sylvester said or did to you that inspired you to file for a protective order the day after you were served with a small claims case.
The day after I was served with a small claims case, it was in my belief that he was going to continue to harass me while I was at work, and therefore I filed the protection order.
I want to tell you something. You abused the system.
Your feelings are irrelevant to the law, and that is a fact, one that Judge Judy has to make clear.
Your mother cares what you believe. Maybe your sister cares what you believe. Maybe your mother cares how you feel. Maybe your sister cares how you feel.
Do you think Judge Judy's like this with her family and friends? Like, or do you think she's like softer, or is she just like all the time?
The law doesn't give a rat's ass how you feel. The law believes in facts.
If he is telling the truth, then Bird needs to make sure his earthly affairs are settled. Judge Judy is right. No sensible judge would grant that order knowing the facts.
So far, I've asked you 3 times to give me something specific that Mr. Sylvester said or did to you that inspired you to file for a protective order against him, excluding him from your workplace, because that's what you asked for. Excluding him from your workplace. And I guarantee you, on Bird's life, that
Poor Bird.
You did not tell the judge before whom you were requesting this protective order that you worked in the same place.
I made it very clear.
Oh, I don't believe that.
I made it very clear
I don't
to the
believe
judge.
that, because then you're telling me that the judge was a moron.
Judge Judy refuses to entertain the possibility of a judge granting such an order. She is absolutely mad that the defendant would suggest the idea.
The judge suspended it. He didn't issue a restraining. He didn't issue a permanent restraining order.
No. You asked for. That's not what I'm saying to you, sir. Let's make ourselves perfectly clear.
Yes, ma'am.
You requested a protective order on an emergency basis, excluding him from your workplace.
The defendant does not look fazed by the fact that he abused the court process and consequently his co-worker.
That's where he
The
works.
defendant looks ready to do it again.
Service of the actual
Listen,
document.
I think that you overstepped it and you abused the system and you abused him.
The real issue here might be the casual girlfriend and not the abusive court process. It wouldn't be surprising if this was payback for the plaintiff hitting on his girlfriend.
Is it somebody that you were dating?
You could say that.
That's either a yes or a no.
Yes, we were dating.
Right.
Casually.
So while I'm not getting involved with the rest of this nonsense, I am awarding him money for lost wages.
Okay.
Because I think that your actions not only abuse me as part of a system, because you used it in retaliation. Your girlfriend didn't feel threatened enough to go and seek a protective order. And you never sought a protective order before you were served with a small claims case.
This one personally offended her pride as an officer of the court, but Judge Judy used her power to even the case out.
And this was after the party.
It's for the same...
Just a second. We're done. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're finished. Thank you.
Judge Judy takes no prisoners, honestly. Like, as soon as she feels like she's being lied to or she's being presented with a lot of irrelevant information, she just shuts it down, makes her judgment and sends them on their way. I guess because she's seeing several people a day, several cases, she just doesn't have time to waste. Just absolutely brilliant, one of a kind. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.